What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Terminator 101. I'm Eddie Green, and today we're going to have a little bit of a different discussion than we normally would. Normally, Terminator 101 is about theories, discussion, opening it up, being really passionate fans about the franchise that we love, right? Or some of the films in the franchise that we love. And it sucks that I gotta make this video, but I felt obliged to for a couple different reasons. One, because I just make the content that I want to make and hopefully you guys enjoy it. But two, because I do think this is an important thing that needs to be discussed. First and foremost, what needs to be said right before we get into this is not something that I made up, cooked up in my head. I swear to you, it is not. I actually made a video, but I only put it on Facebook after my experience, and you'll figure out what I'm talking about if I don't, give it away in the cover photo, which I probably will. But yeah, so I shared it on Facebook. I shared it on the events page, and I got a couple weird comments back from people. And frankly, they weren't nice, but I have a thick skin, so it's whatever. But I felt, okay, I need to make a video and share it. You know what I mean? I need to really share it, not just on the events page, but everywhere, as much as I can, because this is something that needs to be discussed. So what am I talking about? Well, in October, I went to an event. I live in Florida. I went to an event called Spooky Empire, which is like a science fiction horror convention. And the only reason I was going, I would never have went otherwise. Trust me, I would not have went. Because I am selective about my conventions, where I go. You have to really get somebody that draws me in. And they got somebody. They got Robert Patrick, okay? T-1000. They got him. And I was so excited. I was so stoked. I found that out, I think, the day after they announced it on their social media pages. And maybe within a week, I bought my tickets to the event because of Robert Patrick. So that's very important to note. I was not going to go otherwise, okay? So the day comes, and this is documented on my social media, so if you want to check it out, you can. But the day comes, and I'm so excited. I asked for it off. I did everything, made sure it was going to be a great day. Heading down there, it's fine. Everything's fine. It's nothing out of the ordinary. Getting there is a little weird, and I'm not even going to complain. I am not going to complain about the parking situation and everything like that, which was a topic of a lot of people's concern afterwards. After, the event, I found out a lot of people had mixed reception to even the parking, but we're not going to get into that. So I'm at the event, right? I'm at the event. I'm doing everything, and it comes to 5 o'clock. I think is when the room that had all the guests opened up. Okay, so I got there maybe at like 10. I don't know. The times I don't remember, but at 5 o'clock I was there. Right, I was actually the first in line. There were like 2 lines that developed. I went on a Friday. And there were 2 lines that developed, and that kind of caused some commotion and controversy of the dealers in the room and everything, saying that their booths were being blocked. But hey, so I'm the first in the line, right? Waiting for Robert Patrick, waiting. I have 3 Blu-rays. I have everything, I'm so excited. And there he is, right? He comes in. But this is after we've been allowed in, right? So 5 p.m. 5 p.m. comes. We go up to his booth. We're waiting for a few more minutes. I take a photo. I put it on social media. And then he arrives. Cool. Looking great, right? For his age, right? Everybody ages. We know that. So, he doesn't look like the T-1000 anymore. But he looks good. He really does. So I'm so excited. I'm so pumped. The VIPs go first because, they're very important people. So they go first. And then it comes my turn, right? Very important to note that before me was a super fan, I guess, lady who had some weird history. From what I heard and caught, apparently one of Robert Patrick's sisters babysat her when she was a kid. I don't know. So maybe it could be true, it could be fabricated. But so anyway, she's fanboying, fangirling, whatever you want to call it. And, I mean, Robert is, soaking it up. I mean, as anybody would, right? I mean, if you fanboy over me, I'll soak it up too. Takes a picture. He says, "Oh, I'm going to show this to my sister. I'm going to send it to her right now, see if she remembers you." All that stuff. And then, if I'm not mistaken, what happened was she only paid for, I think, an autograph, but she ended up getting a photo. She ended up getting a photo for free. Keep that in mind, okay? So she got a photo for free. Great. Congrats. That's awesome. I mean, that really is. So that's cool, right? So then she leaves. Eddie steps up to the plate. All right, so the first thing, I mean, there's a hand exchange. We shake hands. Great. I'm a germaphobe. Fun fact, I'm a germaphobe. But for Robert Patrick, I will shake his hand. So I'm not like a Howie Mandel germaphobe. But after we shake hands, guys, I kid you not. I wish I was making this up, but I'm not. I'm not making this up. First thing that comes out of his mouth is, "So who you voting for?" Like, who am I voting for to come back in Terminator 6? No, that's not what he meant. He was talking politics to me. And listen, I am not someone who says, "Hey, look, you can't have your belief." Absolutely, you can have your beliefs. 100%. Believe whatever the hell you want to believe. I don't care. I have my beliefs. You have your beliefs, right? However, there is a time and a place to express said beliefs. Am I not? Like, if I'm wrong, let me know, but I know I'm not wrong. There is a time and a place. To talk politics at a science fiction and horror convention is not the place. I'm sorry, it's not. Okay? So I'm sitting there and I'm actually like going through this in my head. I gotta be in the moment, right? But I also gotta process this. This is not the thing I expected to hear, because right before me was a fangirl and they're all talking. She has all this stuff, going through his career, whatever. Who you voting for? What? What does that matter? Long story short, because that went on for maybe 30, 45 seconds of politic talk. It ended with him saying, "Oh, well, you got to vote for Trump." Trump. What? Okay, look, I don't care. I don't care who you think I should vote for. I don't. If you think I should vote for someone, tell me on your social media pages and I can choose to unfollow you. You don't do it at a science fiction horror convention, okay? First point against you, Robert. Okay, so after that goes by, right? So, that doesn't take up the whole conversation, but it takes up a big majority of it because you only have so many minutes, if you're lucky, with these celebrity guests, because there's a line developing behind me. So the politics come and go. Lovely. And so then I forget how, but we got on the topic of being in Florida, right? So because the convention's in Florida, so we're talking about Florida, and I mentioned my hat that I'm wearing right here. I wore this hat to the convention. I bring it up and I say, well, one of the cool things about living in Florida, or it used to be, was the Terminator 2 attraction at Universal Studios, which was the original location. That was the original attraction. And then it obviously went to Hollywood, Japan, all that stuff. But it started in Orlando. Very cool. And Robert was a part of that. He was in that film. So I asked him, what do you think about it being gone? The fact that last year it was ripped out. What do you think about that? And this is okay. This is not like a big strike against him because he can have his beliefs. But it's sort of, you know what I mean? When you go to these things, you kind of have expectations, right? First and foremost, I'm paying. I paid $60 for an autograph. We'll get to that. But just so you know, right? So I'm kind of, you know what I mean? I'm giving him a question, but I'm baiting him because I have an answer that I want to be given to me, right? And he didn't give me that answer. He said, personally, I'm okay with it. It's time to move on. Time to move on? What are you talking about? It's time to move on. And the reason I ask that, at his table where all the photos were, right? Because they have photos in case you don't bring anything, you can get a photograph signed. At his table, out of all the photos, half of them, if not more, were the T-1000 from Terminator 2. Because let's be real, everybody. You might know Robert Patrick from other things, right? Scorpion, X-Files, whatever. But his claim to fame, the thing that propelled his career, is Terminator 2. Let's not sugarcoat this, right? It's Terminator 2. So if it's time to move on, why do you have all these photographs of something you did in the past? Something that you're clearly still clinging on to? Why? If it's time to move on, if it's truly time to move on, get rid of those photographs. Don't come to this convention, because I kid you not, 75% of the people in that line were there because of Terminator 2. There were cosplayers. There weren't cosplayers of him from X-Files. There might have been on Saturday and Sunday, but when I went, there wasn't. There were cosplayers of him as the T-1000. It's his most iconic role. Let's not kid ourselves. So it's time to move on. Okay, whatever you say. I mean, he held the hat, he looked at it, he was like, oh, wow, cool. But then he gives me that answer. Okay, whatever. I'm going to say a 0.5 strike against you. So you're 1.5 strikes against you already. The only cool positive thing I've had so far is maybe shaking your hand. That's cool, right? So anyways, so then he signs my Blu-ray, which, I mean, I understand. I brought 3 Blu-rays to get signed, and he only signed one of them, because I guess you have to pay $60 per autograph, which is whatever. It's whatever. Keep in mind, that lady got a free photograph. Whatever. It's cool. I'm not striking that against you. The big one, the kicker, guys. You guys know I have a podcast. If you didn't know, I have a podcast. It's called Terminator 101. It's kind of linked with this channel. So I go back and forth. I do a video. I do an episode on the podcast. I have a podcast. And I went into this convention hoping, I was like, please, please, please. All I really want is him to do just a quick introduction to the podcast. That way I can work it into the opening. That way every episode from this point on will open with something to the extent of, hey, this is Robert Patrick, and you're listening to Terminator 101. That's it. How long was that? Maybe 5 seconds? 6? I don't know. Not long, right? So I look at him and I say, well, hey, look, you know I'm a Terminator fan. Clearly, I have Blu-rays, a hat. Can you just, I'm going to record a quick introduction for my podcast. I have a podcast dedicated to Terminator, and I would love for you to do an intro that I can play at the beginning of every episode. And he says, he doesn't even say anything. He just points over to the right. And to the right, at the end of the table, is, I guess, his agent, who he jokingly referred to as Steven Yeun's father, the actor from The Walking Dead who played Glenn. He referred to his agent as the actor's father, just so you know. And so I look over, and that's what I got. I got a head shake. Okay. And then Robert says, don't be mad at me, be mad at him. Robert. I'm going to exaggerate. 5 minutes ago, but it was maybe even shorter. You had a lady here who clearly did not pay for a photograph, right? But yet, sure, come on, let's take a photograph right over here. Look, I get I'm not female. I get that. But come on. And I've told this to some people, obviously I've vented to some of my friends and whatnot. I told them about that. And, some people were like, what? Really? And then a couple people were like, well, I mean, I get it. I get it. You got to be careful nowadays. What do you mean you got to be careful now? Am I pulling out a gun? No, I want a quick introduction for my podcast. I've seen Robert Patrick do podcasts. He knows what they are. What? What do you think? I'm going to twist your words and make it something that you didn't say? I mean, I can do that now. I can go on YouTube, look up any interview you've given, take audio bits and mash it. I mean, what are you talking about? You got to be careful. Made no sense. I wanted 5 seconds of your time. What, do I got to pay for that too? So whew, that was the kicker. That was like are you kidding me? Really, that's how you treat your fans. That's really how you treat your fans. Or at least that's how you treat me, one of your fans. So, it didn't go well. And I think I might have got a fist bump in there, but I didn't even really get a conclusive farewell because one of his co-stars from one of his shows came over and was like, Robert! And he got distracted. Again, it was a female. He got distracted, and so then there I am, just left to kind of slump away with my head hanging low. I was going to get a photograph with him. I was going to do one of the photo ops later on in the day, which would have been another $80 or $90. I think it was 90. Might have been 80. 80 or 90, somewhere in that ballpark. Nope. Sorry. Not after that experience. You're not getting another $80 or $90 out of me. So I'm sorry that this video kind of went, it went 15 minutes long so far, 16. And I'm sorry that I ranted to you guys, but I feel like this is something that needs to be discussed. And I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from here, that I'm not making this up. I'm not lying. This is how it went. And I just feel like if Robert Patrick is watching this, because I will be, tagging after this video comes out, I'm happy I met you, man. I really am at the end of the day. I'm happy I met you because you are in one of my favorite films of all time. But I feel like you need to treat all of your fans the same. I feel like you need to treat them all the same. And learn and know what to talk about, because like I said, there's a time and a place for all this stuff. And just so you know, again, if Robert Patrick is watching this, I left that convention questioning my fandom for Terminator. I left and I was like, why am I a fan? If I was treated the way I was just treated, why am I a fan? Why am I so passionate? That didn't last long. I talked myself out of it. I was like, okay, well, Robert Patrick is only an actor in one of the films, right? He's not James Cameron. Now, if I was treated that way by James Cameron, the creator of this, then I would really question my fandom. But I did. I'm not lying. I walked to the parking lot, and during that walk, I questioned my fandom. That's not good. You don't go to conventions to question your fandom. You go to indulge in your fandom, right? That's what they're designed for. Anyways, guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you disagree, leave a comment down below and let me know. Am I just looking at this too harsh? I don't think I am. I think I'm looking at it pretty damn reasonably. Share this video if you feel like this is something that needs to be discussed amongst all, because this applies to, this applies to anything, like a sports athlete, whatever. There's a lot of different kinds of fandoms and opportunities, and I know I'm not the only person who's had a bad experience meeting somebody, but it needs to be, worked on, because why are you going to these conventions? You're clearly making money off of these things, right? So treat it like a job. You don't go to a film set and treat it like, whatever, right? At least I hope not. You would go and you would give your all. Give your all at conventions too, man. Ugh, sucks. Anyways, guys, I'm done ranting. Share this video, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the podcast. You can find it on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Music, Anchor, which is where I host it through, Terminator 101. And until I talk to you guys next time, keep on terminating.